Our technology can actually read that non-invasively, the exact same way with a finger clamp on the patient's finger, and read both, regardless of if there's dark skin or even nail polish on someone's finger, read the oxygen levels accurately, but also give you instant information.
All right, welcome back inside our proactive newsroom. And joining me now is Thomas Sandgaard. He is the CEO of Zynex. And Thomas, it's great to see you again. How are you?
Yeah, good morning, Steve. Good to see you.
Yeah, so the company has put out a news release saying that you've officially submitted to the US FDA the non-invasive co-oximeter device. So maybe let's start there. Tell everyone a little bit about what this device is and more importantly, what the FDA has to do with it.
Yes, we've been waiting a long time for this one here. This device is very unique in that it can make a very significant and very meaningful difference in the market. Pulse oximetry is one of the biggest markets for medical devices worldwide, and devices on the market today are not exactly perfect. For instance, they read significantly wrong when someone has dark skin, and also if someone comes into the emergency room with for instance, a carbon monoxide poisoning, um, they will not really pick that up, but instead read it as if there's plenty of oxygen in the blood. Um, so what typically happens is that if a clinician is in doubt, they will take a blood sample, wait for the results to come back, and then they know what the real oxygen levels are, if there's carbon monoxide poisoning, and a couple of other parameters. Um, our technology can actually read that non-invasively, the exact same way with a finger clamp on the patient's finger, and read both, regardless of if there's dark skin or even nail polish on someone's finger, read the oxygen levels accurately, but also give you instant information if there's carbon monoxide poisoning, if there's methemoglobin or reduced hemoglobin, what those levels are, and you have that instantly and non-invasively. So it'll make a significant difference and can probably save lives. It was a huge problem for people with darker skin during COVID, for instance, that the, uh, the data was not collected accurately. So we hope this will have a massive impact. And what is it now? It's nearly 2 weeks ago that we submitted the application and have had the first initial dialogue with the FDA about the product. And obviously, we're very hopeful we can get it through quickly. But conservatively, we say this is going to take 6 months.
Yeah, and just so people understand, it goes through the FDA for clearance because it is considered a medical device. Is that the reasoning behind it?
That's correct. It's a
Yeah.
class two device, so it's not hysterically dangerous potentially, like some products are, but it's medium. Medium, low risk in terms of clinical studies and all that. And we have conducted multiple clinical studies on this product. That is obviously data that the FDA needs to see.
Is there a lot of, you mentioned that yours has a lot of, sort of solves a lot of the flaws that are in the devices that are available right now. Has there been much advancement in this particular area, or is this really something that we haven't seen for quite some time, or if at all?
It's a technology that was developed probably around 4 decades ago and become an industry standard that you just have that and use that pretty much everywhere in a hospital today. And it's also used in other applications at home. We are our initial product will be targeting the hospital market, which is approximately $1 billion worldwide in terms of annual revenue. And as you say, there's not been any significant developments in that market. The main developments has been optimizing, for instance, that it's not so sensitive to movement. One company in particular has spent a lot of resources on that and has really improved their technology a lot by doing that. But that's the kind of improvements that have been. in terms of the accuracy of the product and being able to detect the other species of hemoglobin in the blood non-invasively, that has not really been solved. There's been a lot of efforts by our competitors in that space, but in order to do it accurately and seamlessly without having to disclaim your way out of why it doesn't really work.
Yeah.
This is a huge development in that space.
And we should mention, Thomas, that this isn't something that the company says, "Hey, we should do this one day. This would be a great idea." This is something that the FDA and the medical community has been asking for. They were looking to solve these type of problems, and your technology, if it is successful and gets cleared, will address something that they were desperately looking for.
Actually, they were prompted by some members of Congress, and there were certain newspapers that were highlighting that people with darker skin had a much higher mortality during COVID, and asked the FDA to look at it. And they set up a panel of 35 very smart people to start looking at it. And there's even user groups, etc. And there's also a group set up by the FDA looking at if in the extreme scenario, current devices should even be allowed to be sold, even though they previously were cleared by the FDA. So there's a lot of focus on that. We've had a lot of conversations with the FDA about our technology before we submitted here over the past couple of years, and have had they've been very interested in why it's possible to make it so accurate, and obviously using very precise frequent or wavelengths in laser diodes versus the more broader light that you get from regular LEDs is primarily what makes a difference. And there's a lot of other smart things that the company we acquired 3.5 years ago had
Absolutely.
already over approximately a decade at that point.
Wow. Thomas, thanks so much for the update. As you said earlier, you're hoping for 6 months, best case scenario. So we'll keep monitoring things as the months roll on. And I really appreciate your time today. Thanks very much, and congratulations on getting this submitted.
Thank you. We'll be ready to hit the market hard in 6 months.
All right, look forward to that. Thomas Sandgaard, the CEO of Zynex.